Good morning, Sam. It is Monday, November 1st, 2021. This week we are doing another how-to week. This is a video on how to write a paper. This is not how you actually write it. This is not how you put the words on the page. This is how you figure out how to write a paper. Okay, so let's start from the basics. Today is Monday. I have a 6-page paper due next Sunday. That's real. I need to come up with a strategy for how I'm gonna get that paper written before Sunday. I really don't want to sit down Sunday morning and go, oh crap, I need to write 6 pages before the end of the night and bang them out. That's not how I work. That's not how I'm most effective. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna outline my week. I'm gonna see what things I have that need to be done. These are my classes, this is my class schedule. These are the things that I absolutely am totally committed to. I'm gonna be there no matter what. The next thing I need to do is outline the actual project itself that I'm doing. So essentially what I'm doing for this paper is I'm writing a case study on a very specific film with an analysis attached to that case study. There are a few choices that I have to make before I can put any words on the page. I'm gonna make a list. I'm gonna plan out exactly what it is that I need to do before I can even start writing. The first thing I need to do is pick the film that I'm gonna be using for the case study. The next thing I'm gonna need to do is formulate my thesis that I'm gonna be using to write this paper. Then I can come up with a rough outline for how the paper is gonna work. Looking at some of the primary and secondary sources that I'm gonna be using. Gather sources, come up with outline. Okay, so at this point, I haven't written any words. If I get to that stage, I've done a lot of the work of the actual paper. I have an idea of what I'm gonna say. I know how I'm gonna say it. I know what my thesis is, and I know the film that I'm focusing on. So then it's just a matter of generating the actual content of the paper. Like how am I gonna say those things specifically? I think this is actually the easy part. Draft 1, and typically with something like this is 5 to 6 pages, I'm gonna do 2 drafts and then a final. Write draft 2, and then final. You'll notice that only 2 of these items are actually writing. The final one is proofreading, and the rest of it is thinking about the paper and gathering material for it. So the majority of my time is going to be spent on those things. I have an outline of my week and I have an outline of my project. So I need to have a meeting with my professor before I can start writing this paper, before I can really come up with exactly what I want to say. I sent her an email yesterday and we're going to meet on Wednesday. So I can put down, Wednesday I am meeting with my professor. Does that mean that I can't have my film picked before then? Probably not. I probably can have my film picked. I probably can have a rough idea of the thesis that I want to use, and I should definitely have some sources that I'm going into that meeting with. I should have a pretty good sense of what I'm going to do. Should I have an outline for my argument? Probably not. That's probably a bit of a stage too far because we're going to talk about what I'm really going to be talking about in the paper and what I'm going to be arguing. So that's not really necessary. So I know that before Wednesday morning, I should have my film picked and I should have my thesis formulated. And I should have my sources gathered. So it looks like the time that I have tomorrow I should use to do all 3 of those things. So I should pick the film, formulate the thesis, and gather sources on Tuesday. Then I need to come up with an outline. So after my meeting with my professor, I know I'll have a little bit more time that morning, so I'll probably come up with an outline. Now, I really don't like to do things on Saturday, but I have a bit of time on Thursday, and it looks like I have a bit of time on Friday, in particular in the morning, in which to write. And what I really need to do at that point is probably start writing that first draft, and maybe even get started on that second draft. Now, I know that I need to finish that draft 2 and finalize. I have all of Sunday in which to do that. No classes scheduled, nothing else scheduled. So I'm going to put down finishing draft 2 and finalize on Sunday. That is the way that I work in order to formulate something like this paper. For me, that it eliminates a lot of the stress of just like putting it off till the last minute. This is not to say that I'm a great writer. In fact, I think that I am a very mediocre writer, which is why I need to do things like this in order to like make my life work. But this is my process, and that is how I, as a senior in college, am writing a 6-page paper. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Sam, I'll see you tomorrow.